Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, you will learn how to determine the object and the class of the autonomous system. So we start with an introduction and then we give the criteria or the guidelines of structuring the classes and the object, and then the categories of the object and classes, and we end with exercise. After developing the static model in the previous class, the next step is to determine the software objects that model the real-world objects in the problem domain. So here we're focusing on determining the object of the system. The static relation between the classes is considering in static model, while the dynamic relation between the objects is considered in dynamic model. So for next class, we will develop the dynamic model. So we need to use the objects. So in this class, we will focus on determining the object and how we can construct the object of the real world system, the object that reflect the real problem. So here we're focusing on the software object that model the real world object. Actually, the objects are determined from the use cases, also from the static model. So by the end of this class, the student should able to determine the object or different object of the system. So we start with something we call it criteria. The criteria actually it's a guidelines that can help you to construct or to develop the object. So first, there is no unique way to determine the object or to find the object of the system. So in this class, we just give an guidelines that can help you to construct the object system. So the criteria here it's provide you a guideline to identify the objects of the system of the real system from the problem domain, and then based on that you can design the corresponding software object that model the real world system. These guidelines is used for identify the object. After the object have been identified, we can use this object to identify the interaction among the object, also to design the dynamic model and the communication diagram or sequence diagram.